Today, I'm going to cover 4 typical investor types and discuss the reasons why they eventually decide to go for UK rental property over other forms of investment, such as shares, bonds, savings, or pensions. The 4 categories are divided according to what each investor type wants to get out of the investment. Get passive income, get onto the property ladder, build a large property portfolio, and the 4th category of overseas residents. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. T and I've been in the property business for almost 50 years. Here's a bit about me. In the 1980s, whilst working as a junior doctor, my hobby was computers and I co-founded one of the UK's largest PC manufacturers with over 3,000 staff. Computer making moved to China, and during the past 17 years, I researched and analysed the UK property market and developed a property business for 100% passive investors, which currently looks after almost 3,000 properties and is now run by my children and over 100 staff. I really enjoy helping people with property investment and making videos like this. Please hit the like button, drop a comment below, subscribe, and hit the bell. Let's get back to the video. So we're going to cover the 4 main categories of people who buy UK rental property. The first category are those that are simply looking for personal passive income or regular pension type income. Typically, they're older, perhaps coming up to retirement, have significant savings, usually in a savings account or in funds. They've thought about buying rental property in the past, but I've been worried about all the liabilities of the landlord and difficulties with tenants and property maintenance. They usually don't want to take risks with financial products and shares and have typically been earning very low interest, and their savings have usually depreciated due to high inflation. Money in the bank has made them poorer. Now, once they realize that rental property can be purchased 100% passively, without being the landlord, their main objection is overcome, and they usually purchase one low-cost property. And once they're happy with the process and have confidence in the company, they use any remaining investment funds to acquire more. Their aim is to get maximum rent to support their income, and they may later gift their properties to children or leave them in a will, or later sell them if they need cash for any reason. The second category are younger people with less savings. They have good jobs, usually in London or the South, but simply can't afford to buy an own home, or they prefer to rent and want to remain mobile. They decide they'll continue renting, but use their savings to buy a low-cost investment property to get onto the property ladder. After initial purchase, they usually continue saving and buy more. Now, they could keep their properties for long term to get passive income, or eventually they could sell some of their investment properties and get an own used property for themselves. They tend to buy our lowest cost properties or use the 2-step process to acquire an interim property for just £40,000 and then 3 years later upgrade at a lower price to a larger property. Then start the process again to get another property. And this 2-step process actually works out cheaper than a buy-to-let mortgage to fully own a property over 3 years. There is no interest or debt. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. We publish content every week on UK property investing. Hit the bell and like. It really helps the channel and ensures you're notified when the next video is released. The third category are professionals such as doctors, dentists, lawyers, IT consultants, and many small business owners who have been very busy building their profession or business. And then after the age of around 50, they realize that they need to plan for long-term financial security for themselves and their families. After much thought, they eventually decide to build a property portfolio gradually over time. Most of them want to remain debt-free, and low-cost houses enable them to build a portfolio more gradually with lower risk and without mortgages. As they're typically higher rate taxpayers and eventually want to have many properties, for example, 10 to 15 houses, they usually decide to set up a family investment company where they and their family are shareholders. This can be more tax efficient for them and also potentially save on inheritance tax later. They lend money to their company and the company buys a property. The rent stays within the company and is added to from their business or profession as further loans to their company, and further properties are purchased. For example, one each year. They already have good income and so don't need to take the rental income out of the company. Instead, they use that to buy more property and hence gradually build a large portfolio. When they retire, they start taking rental income. And initially, they may take back their loan, which they gave to their company, as this is taken out tax-free. The company is structured in such a way with different classes of shares for children and parents, such that all the growth happens in the shares of the children. And eventually, most of the value of the company belongs to the children. So inheritance tax is minimized when the portfolio is passed on to the next generation. I produced a separate video on how to set up such a property investment company. Now, so far we've talked about investors living in the UK. The fourth category, about 30% of our investor clients are living abroad. And broadly, about half of these are UK nationals, what we term as expats, and half are overseas nationals. These non-resident investors can fit into each of the first three categories. Some are looking for more secure pension type income. Others are looking to acquire first property in the UK. And some are looking to build a large portfolio of low-cost investment properties over time. One advantage they usually have is that they have no other UK income. So the first £12,570 of rent in the UK can be tax-free under personal ownership. Most of the expats tend to be living in Southern Europe, including Spain, France, and Cyprus, but also in the Middle East, Africa, and the Far East. Many have savings like the first category and are simply looking to supplement their passive income. Overseas nationals usually have some connection with the UK. They studied here or have family here, visit for holidays, or are looking to send their children to study here. They are looking for a safe, secure country where the laws of freehold property ownership are clear and fair. They're investing to diversify and give themselves and their children options for the future. They also hedge on currency, making sure they have some income and assets in GB pounds. Now, for all of these four categories of investors, unlike paper investments, property is a tangible physical asset that gives them long-term security. Even if the financial world collapses, they still have their property. It grows in value over the long term, usually better than inflation, and gives good rental income, much higher than savings. What makes it easy for them all is the fact that there can be 100% passive investors with no landlord liabilities and costs. They don't need to worry about the tenancy or property maintenance. Please watch the message from our sponsor at the end on exactly how this form of property investment works. Thanks for watching.
If you want to invest in property and get 7% net rent, long-term capital growth, no costs or liabilities ever, do nothing yourself, and be living anywhere in the world, then consider Find UK Property. They provide 100% passive investment solutions for long-term income from freehold properties starting at under 80k. You get a property that is affordable, fully renovated, already rented out, contractually guaranteed and productive from day one. You become the owner and rent it back to Find UK Property so that they become your tenants and look after all aspects of the property in a fully compliant way. You never need to deal with tenants, estate agents, or do any property maintenance or repairs, or pay for any costs. Find UK Property look after over 2,500 houses, all of which are sublet to their own tenants. And on average, they get more rent from their tenants than they have to pay the property owners. So that way they can cover all the property costs. Their solutions are great for those wanting to retire on pension type income or gradually build large property portfolios passively in a tax-efficient manner. Please visit the website at findukproperty.com and speak to a consultant today.